I'm Theo.
And I'm Juliette.
And this is Apologies Accepted.
We offer an entertaining look at some of the big issues in history by examining public apologies of the famous and infamous.
We're looking at politicians, serial killers, actors, and you.
Send us a public apology you would like to make, and we'll read it on the air and give you a chance to redeem yourself or just get some guilt off your shoulders.
We're here for you. Once a week, maybe more if you're really, really sorry. Everybody.
This is Apologies Accepted,
the podcast.
And I'm not Theo.
And I am not Juliette.
And I have been doing various things here and there the past couple of weeks since we last spoke. But what have you been doing, Theo? What's shaking bacon?
Nothing as interesting as what you've been doing.
Yeah, that's true.
It is very true. Okay, I won't steal your bacon.
So tell me what your bacon is.
Let's see. I'm now back in Austin. I'm thrilled to be back. Done with the repairing and fixing up the house in Palm Springs for now. We'll see what the future holds. And let's see. I had mentioned my friend Vanessa came out and spent a month with me to hold my hand while I cried every day. And just so people understand what I heroically have been dealing with.
Uh-huh.
There was the flood in the downstairs bathroom when the sewer line backed up. And we didn't know for 2 days that the shower water and the toilet water and the sink water and the dishwasher water and all the water in the house had been coming back up the pipe through the shower and from under the downstairs toilet and soaking the downstairs carpet.
Nightmare.
So that was super fun, and that sewer line had to be cleared out. And then just to cap it all off, on the last day that I was leaving the house, I had scrubbed out cabinets. I had vacuumed out cabinets, because there were crumbs on, because I'm that meticulous. No, there were crumbs on the fucking shelves. Like, come on. Okay, fine. It's over. I did it. It's fine. It's all clean. So cool. So did all that. I took an orange, what do they call it? Goof off, which removes like grease from your hands and tools, right? Citrus based. Sprayed that on the front of a wood cabinet because there was some grease on the front of it, and it ate through the finish. So fortunately I caught it and was able to whatever, right? But on my last day, as I was preparing to leave, I went to the guest bathroom.
Yeah.
And I was just doing my double check because, when I leave, it's like, I'm gone. There's nobody here in town that's going to come by and vacuum out shelves for me. I'm going to have to pay someone to do that. So pulled open a shelf or a drawer. That's what they're called. And the knob came off. The previous owner had just simply glued a knob onto the drawer face because it looked pretty.
So frustrating.
And so I had to go to Home Depot and get a little screw. What?
Oh my gosh.
25 cents?
Yeah.
And fine. It's not like it was an easy fix, but it's just that thing of like, oh my God, enough already. And just like that story, that's the last we'll hear of the horrors of the Stephen King house that sits in Palm Springs. And from now on, all of my stories will be golden and filled with joy. Okay, and now passing the baton to you, or the spatula. Passing the spatula to you.
Spatula.
What's shaking, bacon? You've been all over the world.
No, I haven't. I've only been to Denmark. I've been to Copenhagen, which was lovely. It was beautiful. It was perfect. It was a really nice solo trip because I felt safe. The hotel felt safe. The city felt safe, and I wouldn't do anything unsafe anyway. But it was good, and it was a nice city, very very clean, very modern, a lot of historical stuff too. So a lot of old castles and old buildings and a lot of things to look at, a lot of museums, which was really fun. So I had a really good time, a lot of good food. So I recommend Copenhagen to anyone who is even slightly interested in going. And I'd say 5 to 7 days is plenty for Copenhagen. And and that's it. And next weekend, I'm going to 29 Palms, which will be fun to see some music with Brent. And then after that, I think the weekend after that, or the weekend after that, I'm going to New York to see some plays. So that should be fun. Oh, and the other thing, what?
Oh, and that's not your Christmas trip, though, right? Or you're going...
No, I don't think we're going to have a Christmas trip this year. I think we're just going to stay at home. So I think we're just going to decorate the house here and make it...
Oh, I meant your New York Christmas trip when you go see the Rockettes.
Yes, that's going to be December 6th.
Okay, all right.
So I'm looking forward to that too. But the big news, the important news that everyone's been waiting for is that I finally got my chair, and it is a child's chair. Ooh.
Yay. Oh my God. That is the funniest ending it's the funniest middle part to the chair saga that I can imagine.
Well, I'm not sitting in it now because although I looked at the dimensions and it looks like the same size as an adult chair that they have that's very similar. I'm not sure what the weight maximum is because some of those kids' chairs like 50 pounds or something. And I weigh a little more than 50 pounds. And I don't want to sit on this chair and have it break. So I'm trying to decide whether I'm going to send the chair back or take it out and see if it has a weight capacity listed and it's literature, or just take it out and use it. So I don't know. What would you do?
Oh, see, that's a tough one without actually seeing the chair, but odds are, so I'm so lazy. I probably would just stop, and cheap. I would stop eating until I weighed 50 pounds. No, I'd send it back.
Would you send it back?
I'd send it back, yeah. I'd be like, oh, you guys made a mistake. You sent the child's version. We need the adult. Yeah, but then,
maybe I'll do that.
With that comes the whole, do you have the cardboard box? Did it come in Amazon? Because Amazon returns are pretty straightforward and easy.
Yeah. It's West Elm, but it's still in the box it came in, so I haven't unpacked it or anything. So I could just
be able to take that to a store. Yeah.
I should just turn right around and send it back. I mean, I can have someone come pick it up too. So I could do that, but I don't know because it took me so long to find a chair that I liked, that I was willing to tolerate, that I don't know that I want to return it. So I don't know. We'll see.
I would just say it's a sign from the universe that you need to get the chair of your dreams.
But that chair is $750 and I don't think I can still justify that.
But
well, $500 or less now.
Look at what trying to save money costs you. Right?
So far, it's cost me at least $250. Yeah. So, all right, that aside, let's talk about our story today. Our story today is about a company called CrowdStrike. And you all may remember CrowdStrike from an event that happened in July of this year. And I went and I looked up the root cause analysis for the event, and on their website, they say in their own root cause analysis, CrowdStrike is a company founded with a mission to protect customers against today's adversaries and stop breaches. On July 19th, 2024, as part of regular operations, CrowdStrike released a content configuration update via channel files for the Windows sensor that resulted in a system crash. We apologize unreservedly. A defective software update in CrowdStrike Falcon sensor caused Windows computer systems to crash across the globe, leading to massive disruptions of critical functions across multiple industries. And that is from their root cause analysis. So the outage forced major commercial airlines, including Delta, American, and United, to halt flights across the globe, disrupted operations at major broadcast networks, and impacted commercial bank operations, hospitals, and retailers. CrowdStrike was careful to make it clear that the issue was not a cyber attack. Even so, approximately 8.5 million systems crashed, leading to billions of dollars worth of losses. Kelsey Idbo, a crisis communications professional and vice president at Infinite Global, said, "Nothing of this scale or magnitude has happened in recent memory, if ever," sort of vaguely. CrowdStrike CEO George Kurtz apologized within hours on the Today Show and via email. "I want to start by saying we're deeply sorry for the impact that we've caused to customers, to travelers, to anyone affected by this, including our company," Kurtz said. Other top executives at the cybersecurity vendor followed suit with candid apologies and accepted responsibility for the damage. "On Friday, we failed you, and for that, I'm deeply sorry," CrowdStrike CSO Sean Henry said in a LinkedIn post. Later, on July 19th, George Kurtz reiterated, "I want to sincerely apologize directly to all of you for today's outage. All of CrowdStrike understands the gravity and impact of the situation. We quickly identified the issue and deployed a fix, allowing us to focus diligently on restoring customer systems as our highest priority. Nothing is more important to me than the trust and confidence that our customers and partners have put into CrowdStrike. As we resolve this incident, you have my commitment to provide full transparency on how this occurred and steps we're taking to prevent anything like this from happening again," Kurtz said. Kurtz is among the most highly compensated CEOs in the world, recording more than $230 million in total compensation in the last 3 years. He's also a driver for a CrowdStrike-sponsored car racing team. That's like me being a CEO and starting up some sort of equestrian team and riding for the equestrian team. I mean, how are people allowed to get away with this stuff? That's this thing, me finding a way to pay for my horse.
Yep.
So anyway, just recently, a CrowdStrike executive apologized again in September, saying the company has taken steps to make sure the outage can't happen again. Adam Myers, senior vice president at CrowdStrike, spoke at a hearing before a U.S. House Cybersecurity Committee. Myers told the subcommittee that CrowdStrike has introduced new validation checks, enhanced testing procedures, added controls for customers, allowed for gradual rollout across increasing rings of deployment, which I'm wondering why they didn't do in the first place, and increased runtime checks and third-party reviews. So that's what I've got on the event. I also have the text part of the text of the apology, because the apology is like 6 pages long, or the testimony before Congress is 6 pages long, and I'm not going to read all of that. But I was wondering if you had anything to add.
So nothing really about CrowdStrike, right? I started researching and went down the tried and tested true road of podcasts and hit a lot of technical jargon and a lot of like business lingo. I thought marketing departments were basically fueled by business speak. Wow. The tech industry.
Oh, yeah.
At the end of the day, holy moly, was there so much jargon, and not like industry jargon. It was just all businessy talk, which obviously I'm fluent in now, businessy talk. So more to the point, I was like, this is beyond me. Kernels and corn and operating systems and the blah and the blah and the blah. I just will confuse people. So, and rather than all of that, I was like, I wonder about the first computer virus. And so it's sort of a history of viruses. Would you rather do the apology and then hear about the history of viruses? Or
let's hear about the viruses.
Let's hear about the viruses. Let's go. All right. So to begin with, I'd like to credit Zephan Livingston, who's a content writer for eSecurity Planet. They are the single source of information. I scanned a few websites and I was like, this is exactly what I want. Cool. So I want to thank them for the work. Okay. So from theory to reality, 1948 through 1971, computer viruses were first conceptualized by Hungarian mathematician John von Neumann, who designed a self-replicating computer program that some considered to be the precursor to computer viruses. This was about 1940, and it was a thought experiment, and several other people took his work and also had their own academic thought experiments, and all of those articles were pulled together and distributed in 1966 via a paper called Theory of Self-Reproducing Automata. It sounds very boring. So in 1971, about 5 years after the publication of that paper, a computer programmer named Bob Thomas developed the Creeper program, often cited as the first computer virus, named after a character from Scooby-Doo. Gotta love a 70s man. The Creeper was originally intended as a security test for the U.S. Department of Defense's Advanced Research Projects Agency Network, ARPANET, which served as the precursor to the modern Internet. So as a security test, the Creeper's effect on machines was pretty benign. It would simply display a message that said, I'm the Creeper, catch me if you can. So it was harmless but annoying. In 1971, Ray Tomlinson developed the first antivirus software called the Reaper. The Reaper went out across the ARPANET and looked for the Creeper and then would remove it. Viruses get their name. This is a period running from 1974 to 1986. University of Southern California graduate student Fred Cohen designed an unnamed piece of malware which could take over computers' operating systems. He was also the first person to use the term computer virus. Cohen went on to become a pioneer. Sure. He did. He was a pioneer. Went on to become a pioneer of computer virus defense techniques. So he becomes a good guy. Cohen also believed in the idea of positive viruses, beneficial programs which could spread like a computer virus. Cohen designed a compression virus, a virus designed to not damage or delete infected files, but instead make them smaller. But also, hi, Mr. Cohen, you're touching other people's data. You keep your programs off of it. In 1986, the first computer virus, Brain, was released into the wild. And when we say the wild, I'm part of this now, when we say the wild, we mean outside of a lab or outside of a single company, right? This is just something that was released to the world. It was spread via infected floppy disks. Wow, you had to do some work back then to spread a virus. Brain would replace the boot sector of the floppy disk with a copy of the virus. Brain was created by the Alvey brothers. The virus was meant to track pirated copies of certain startup disks or floppy disk. When booted up, it would display a message that usually said, "Welcome to the dungeon," a reference to an early programming forum. The brothers' name, addresses, and phone numbers were listed with a request that the victim contact them for virus removal. Kind of cute, but then also, why would you bother? Like many early computer viruses, the Brain program was relatively benign and wasn't designed to be much more than annoying. Worms in the dawn of the internet age. One of the most popular early instances of computer viruses is the Morris worm. Launched on November 2nd, 1988, and named for its creator, Robert Morris, the Morris worm was also not intentionally designed to damage infected machines. Instead, it was meant to point out weaknesses present in networks of the time. However, a coding error, resulted in the worm replicating itself regardless of a computer's infection status, leading to computers becoming infected with multiple copies of the worm and eventually resulting in all the machines crashing. Morse ended up becoming the first person convicted of a felony in the U.S. under the 1986 Computer Fraud and Abuse Act. As malicious viruses became more the norm, countermeasures were developed to mitigate the damage these viruses caused. One of the first pieces of antivirus software, McAfee's Virus Scan, was released in 1987. McAfee is still going strong, and I swear they are a computer virus themselves anymore. Macroviruses, viruses which could infect documents created via programs like Microsoft Word, rose in popularity in the mid to late 90s. One of the most prominent was 1999's Melissa. Spread via email, the virus would use a subject line, "Important message from," fill in the blank, a user's name. Upon opening the email, recipients would see the message, "Here's that document you asked for. Don't show anyone else," winky face, being a colon in a, or semicolon in a paragraph. What the fuck are those parentheses? Thank you, brain. Okay. And then there was the attached file, which was a Word document. The document contained a list of pornographic sites, along with passwords for access to the sites, and would then spread itself to the next 50 people in the victim's contact list. So the minute you open it up, you got a list of porn sites, a list of the passwords to log into those porn sites, and then the 50 people in your contact list also got that same document coming from you. Let's see. Going mobile and going global. In July of 2001, the code Red Worm attempted to subject the entire internet to a distributed denial of service DDoS attack. I have heard of such things, but outside of that, I only know those initials as being something bad. Named for the flavor of Mountain Dew its developers were drinking at the time, Code Red would disfigure infected websites with text reading, "Hello, welcome to," here's a website, www.worm.com, "hacked by Chinese!" Due to the virus's name and the above text, many at the time believed the source of the malware came from China. Really? That seems so stupid to me, but that's what they say. However, despite claims from officials at the time that the virus had been traced to China, no evidence has come to light linking Code Red to the Chinese nation. In fact, China itself would fall prey to the second iteration of Code Red in August 2001. The rise of ransomware, 2011 to 2022. And actually, I know a company, I have a friend that worked at a company that was hit by ransomware, and apparently it was Russians or Ukrainian teenagers. I forget which of the two, but It was a big thing that was happening a couple of years ago, and they had to pay Yep. They paid $5,000 to get access back to their data.
Oh, that's not much.
Oh, exactly, which is why they paid it, and they were just like, okay, right? And now, of course, every week they have to watch a video that tells you how not to get hacked and what not to click on. Okay, so the rise of ransomware, 2011 to 2022. So the 2010s through the early 2020s have been marked by an increase of prevalence in ransomware attacks. We're in 2024. Why did I just say the early 2020s? The advent of untraceable digital payment methods like cryptocurrency makes it easier for hackers to extort money without being caught. WannaCry is a virus that is particularly notable for its 2017 attack on users worldwide and its method of propagation. The attack was massive, hitting over 230,000 computers in more than 150 countries in the first day. NHS hospitals in the United Kingdom, which is the National Health Service, which is basically every hospital in the UK, were among the largest organizations hit by WannaCry. The UK branch of an automobile company, Nissan, was another notable victim. I don't know what's the matter with my eyes. The way it was spread was not through traditional ransomware vectors like email phishing, but instead through Eternal Blue, a Windows exploit initially developed by the U.S. National Security Agency, NSA, and subsequently stolen and leaked by hacker group, the Shadow Brokers. And I include that because the names are this is what teenage boys would call themselves. We're the Shadow Brokers. But then also it's very clear to see that as individual users become more aware of how you can let a virus into your company by clicking on an attachment in an email, right? Or going to some website through some random email that you get, that the way for hackers, we'll just use that term collectively, to gain access to systems now is really going to be through single source vendors like a McAfee antivirus system or like CrowdStrike. So once you can hack the security system, you don't need individual users anymore to let you in.
That's true.
That is true. That is my stunning analysis and takeaway for everybody for this week's episode. And you're welcome, world. You have been warned.
Or if you're incompetent, you can take down the whole world on your own without meaning to.
There is that too.
Not to say that CrowdStrike is incompetent. But it was just a matter of time before something like this happened, in my opinion. But what can I say? I'm not a security person, so at least not anymore. All right, so let's talk about the apology. The testimony of Adam Myers, Senior Vice President, Counter Adversary Operations from CrowdStrike Holdings, Inc. He said, among other things, like I said, he said 6 pages worth of stuff, and I'm not going to read them all, but he did say, on behalf of everyone at CrowdStrike, I want to apologize. We are deeply sorry this happened and are determined to prevent it from happening again. We appreciate the incredible round-the-clock efforts of our customers and partners who, working alongside our teams, mobilize immediately to restore systems and bring many back online within hours. I can assure you that we continue to approach this with a great sense of urgency. More broadly, I want to underscore that this was not a cyber attack from foreign threat actors. This incident was caused by a CrowdStrike rapid response content update. We have taken steps to help ensure that this issue cannot recur, and we are pleased to report that as of July 29th, approximately 99% of Windows sensors were back online. Since this happened, we have endeavored to be transparent and committed to learning from what took place. We have undertaken a full review of our systems and begun implementing plans to bolster our content update procedures so that we emerge from this experience as a stronger company. I can assure you that we will take the lessons learned from this incident and use them to inform our work as we improve for the future. Since July 19th, 2024, we have implemented multiple enhancements to our deployment processes to make them more robust and help prevent recurrence of such an incident without compromising our ability to protect customers against rapidly evolving cyber threats. And then he listed a bunch of the enhancements that they implemented. So let's take a look at the apology. Was there an expression of regret? Yes, definitely. And surprisingly, and more than once. And I think one of the things they said first before they went before the Congress, they said on July 19th, I believe that they said, we apologize unreservedly. And I think that's the first time I've ever seen anyone apologize unreservedly in this podcast, in the history of this podcast. So 3 years almost of podcasting. And I think this is the one that takes the most responsibility. So was there an explanation of what went wrong? Yes, they did. They explained in detail what went wrong. Was there an acknowledgement of responsibility? Yes, more than once. There was a declaration of repentance. There was not an offer of repair. Like they didn't say, we're going to give everyone $50 million because we disrupted your business. But I'm sure they couldn't afford to. They lost $20 billion. CrowdStrike lost $20 billion because of this event. So they're not in a position to be giving anyone any money. But there was no offer of any kind of repair. And there was not a specific request for forgiveness, but I think there was an implied request for forgiveness. So when I think about what I'm going to rate this apology, I'm going to give it a 9, and I will accept this apology.
Wow.
I know that's pretty high, huh?
That's very high. Yeah. So I'm away from you this week.
Interesting.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes. And so I gave it a 6. I felt it was better than average, but to your point, the piece that was missing for me was the restitution, right?
Right.
Also, that phrase, we apologize unreservedly, always just like, yeah.
Oh, you don't like it?
I don't, because it's very formulaic in Britain, right?
Okay.
Like, I'm trying to think of like the American equivalent, and it escapes me right now, but like, I'm really sorry doesn't, but it kind of has that same ring in my ears, right? And that's probably why I was like, because the minute I saw that, I was like, oh, God, 4, right? But at the same time, I really do feel like he explained the situation, and it's understandable that he's not personally responsible for it. And so I'll give it a 6 again, or still
fair.
Real tempted to give it 8.5. So I do accept it, right? And again, it just gets down to, it's one of those things that was bound to happen. It wasn't done on purpose. It was an error. We're sorry.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. So I do not have a who's sorry now or apology expected this week. I apologize unreservedly for not having one.
My eyes twitching.
Do you have one?
I do. So I have an apology expected from Jack Doherty.
Who's Jack Doherty?
Exactly. I did not know about him until yesterday. So Jack Doherty is an influencer streamer, and he's on a platform called Kick. Never heard of it. Never heard of him.
Kick.
Right. Huh. But apparently he wasn't interested enough to like, who is Jack Doherty? Let me find out. Right. He gives off a real frat bro kind of vibe, and apparently he's got some money. I don't know if he's got it from his work as a streamer or if that's personal, but Jack Doherty crashed his car during a recent live stream after being distracted by his phone while driving in the rain. He lost control of his McLaren, which is a very fancy car that I think they're handmade, but don't hold me to that. But they're so fancy and exclusive. They have their own magazine for owners. Anyway, so he's driving in the rain. He's being filmed by his cameraman / friend who's sitting in the passenger seat. And he's looking at his phone, and he's looking at he's live streaming. And so he's looking at, what do you call it when people chat? The feed,
chatting?
I guess. He's looking at the chat. Sure, he's looking at the chatting. I don't know what these kids do these days. And lost control of the car and drove into the guardrail and smashed the entire front end of his car all the way up to the wheels of his car, right? So it looks like an accordion folded. And then his cameraman friend has like this huge gash in his forehead. He's bleeding profusely. And of course, they're streaming the whole time, right? Because it's like, this is content gold for this kid. And I say kid because he looks like he's 19. He could be 19 to 25. He could be 40. What do I know? But I don't think so. And so everything from they get to the hospital, and the entire time his concern is focused on his car and whether insurance is going to pay for it. No, you dumb fuck. You recorded yourself and broadcast yourself looking at your phone while driving. Come on, right? But he never once expresses concern for his cameraman friend.
Well,
and that has been flagged online as like, God, you're a real jerk. And it's like, you could tell just by looking at him that he's a real jerk. But okay, if you needed this to figure that out. And so I anticipate an apology coming soon from Jack Doherty, who has been canceled from Kick. He's no longer on their platform as of yesterday.
Do you think he got all that money, the McLaren money, influencing?
I'm going to guess yes, because it seems like of the two articles that I skimmed, right, they just say his name. They don't say the son of, right, or Jack Doherty, the wealthy, blah, right? It seems like all of that money is coming from views and media, right? Now, who's the guy? He's Swedish. He plays games online and he records himself playing the game, and it got some name that's like Whiffy.
I don't know.
There's some Swedish guy. What the F is his name? Anyway, he makes something crazy like hundreds of millions of dollars a year.
Streaming?
Yeah. And playing video games. Swedish streamer.
That would be fun.
Famous.
I wonder what kind of car he drives.
He, I'm sure, has his own driver. And yeah, he probably has orphans that carry him around. I don't use cars. I can't find his name. It's something stupid.
He might not be Swedish.
And I'm sure I know Brent will know this guy's name. And it is something like Iffy or Swishy or something dumb like that. Yeah, mega money out there doing that. Not in podcasting, but in streaming.
No, not podcasting. We should switch to streaming our podcast.
And get ready for that money to come rolling downhill to us.
Yes. So I think that's it for this week. Next week we will not be podcasting because I will be in the Palm Springs-ish area, and then the week after that we will be podcasting as far as I know, unless something happens otherwise. So on that note, thank you everyone. Stay cool, cucumbers,
and don't trip potato chip, and don't crash your McLaren.
Yeah. All right. Bye.
Bye everyone.
Thank you for listening to Apologies Accepted, the podcast.
You can find links to the articles and the sources in the show notes.
To submit an apology or find out more, visit us at apologiesaccepted.net, where you can also find our merchandise.
We're on Twitter at Apologies Accepted.
And on Instagram at apologies.accepted.
You can support our important work at Patreon.com/Apologies Accepted.
And fuck Facebook.
Bye.
Bye.